episode 4, what if Tony Stark landed into outer space and then bumped into the Grandmaster? And it's your boy Icon with another Marvel TV animated review for you. And I would have to say, episode 4, these things are actually pretty good. You know, like, by this time in season 1, I was kind of like, but, you know, this one, like, so far, I mean, even the Christmas episode was cool, you know, like, wasn't anything bad, but like I said, it's your boy Icon with another TV review, so hit that like button, that notification bell, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I am trying to get to 500, and we got about 6 more subscribers to go before we hit the 500 mark, so hopefully, by the time this video goes live, we will be at the 500 mark, and I can thank you all. But to those who have subscribed and liked the videos on my channel, I appreciate you, and we're still doing this regardless of the circumstances. So in this particular one, and these stories are actually starting to get pretty good too, because in this particular episode, it takes place to the first Avengers movie, when Iron Man took the nuclear bomb and threw it into the outer space, and then he dropped into the portal. But now we're doing the what if thing. So what if, instead of Tony Stark actually, you know, crash landing back on Earth and saving the day, what if the portal closed before he had a chance to fall through it? And when the portal closed, the energy from the portal zapped him across time and space, and he ended up going to Jakar, which was the site of the Thor Ragnarok movie, which I really didn't like. So now, instead of having Thor end up there or having the Hulk end up there, we have Tony there. So he bumps into the Grandmaster, and the Grandmaster, you know, good old Jeff Goldblum, he's doing his thing. And then, you know, he tells Iron Man, he's like, oh, you're the guy that saved the world. And then he shows him video footage of the aftermath of him, you know, like saving the planet. And then Tony was like, wow, so we won. He was like, yeah, but you're gone. And, you know, but apparently you're here. So he said, you're going to be my honored guest, and I want you to sit down and watch our chariot races. Because in this particular adaptation, instead of the Grandmaster holding like tournaments where people fight to the death and then he has a champion, now he's holding NASCAR races. It's like a superhero Mario Kart out here. So he's not doing battles. He's not, you know, like he's not doing war. Instead he's doing car races. So he's having Tony watch his car races, like his chariot car races, and the Valkyrie makes an appearance because she's the champion of the racetrack. He ends up bumping into the Mountain Man. Like, they're having a conversation. But in the beginning of this episode, instead of really, because the episode was basically about what if Iron Man ended up on Jakar, but in the beginning of the episode, they actually talk about Gamora. And they're just like, oh, you know the story of Earth's mightiest heroes, but you don't know the story of Gamora. And I'm like, who gives a shit? But apparently there was a tie-in here because Gamora was sent by Thanos to Jakar. I don't know how she found him. She was sent by Thanos to Jakar to kill Iron Man, or to bring Iron Man to him. So Gamora shows up, she tries to fight Tony, her and Tony get into it, the Grandmaster ends up putting those electronic devices on both of their necks, zaps them, knocks them both out, and puts both of them into a chamber room. So now Tony's asking her questions, he's just like, bitch, who are you, why are you coming after me? And then she's like, I'm the daughter of Thanos, and I'm here to kill you. And then he was like, Thanos, you know, he was like, but we defeated you. And then she was like, no, you blew up his Armada, but, you know, like, she's like, Thanos is still coming for you. So Tony's like, well, that's nice and all, but he pushes the mat, because, you know, he got the wristwatch. He pushes the magic wristwatch, you know, he ends up getting free, and then, you know, he's going around, he's trying to bust out. He leaves Gamora in captivity because he's like, well, if you're trying to kill me, I'm not going to break you out of jail too. And then Tony runs off to try to get himself back to Earth. So he says that he's just like, you know, he has a plan to where he can save the planet, he can save Jakar, because he said he didn't like how Jeff Goldblum's character was basically treating the people. So he said, before I go back to Earth, I'm going to help you guys liberate this particular planet. But in order to do that, we're going to need some help. So him and the Mountain Man, they go down to the Valkyrie, and they get Valkyrie to help them with the plan. So the three of them together, they build a new Iron Man suit for Tony, and then when they build that new Iron Man suit, Tony done tapped into all of his electronics. At this point, Tony taps into his footage, his feed, and then he's just like, hey, he was like, you know, Grandmaster, he was like, I challenge you to a race, and if I win, I become the ruler of this planet. And then Grandmaster said, he was like, okay, but if I win, I want your Iron Man suit. So he's like, done. So now the two of them show up. I thought it was going to be a race between Grandmaster and Tony. It ended up being a race with like everybody, like everybody he could think of, this big Gamora included, because they ended up like tying up, like Jeff Goldblum's character, he tied up Gamora and he put her in a car that was being automatic, like remote controlled. So he forced her to actually be a part of the race. So the race happens. Tony, like, he's on a chariot in his Iron Man suit. You know, the Valkyrie, she's in a car. Gamora's in her car. Goldblum's in his car. And everybody's racing. During the race, somebody had blown up Iron Man's chariot. So he then, and this was actually pretty dope, he then takes his Iron Man costume and he turns his Iron Man suit into a sports car. And I was like, wow, Tony's the GOAT. So he gets into the sports car now that's an Iron Man suit, and he's driving around. He ends up talking to Gamora, and then he's just like, listen, I'm trying to save lives. He was like, you don't know how it feels to have a madman destroy your planet and try to kill everything you love, which he does. But he was just like, help me. He said, he said, the whole time I was here, you've been telling me about your father, your father, your father. He said, but who are you? He said, are you going to be your daddy's slave, or are you going to be your own person and rise to the occasion? And then after that, she ended, for a brief moment, she helped Iron Man defeat Jeff Goldblum. Iron Man ended up winning the race, and then he took over the planet. But Valkyrie had stepped in because there was a moment where one of Jeff Goldblum's minions was about to kill Iron Man, and then Valkyrie stepped in and she saved Iron Man from dying. And then the crowd all of a sudden just started cheering for Valkyrie, and they were just like, she's our ruler now, because she ended up using like this magic like staff that Jeff Goldblum had. She turned it on him, and then she used it to like melt him down into nothing. So now that Jeff Goldblum's dead, or he's been defeated, or he's been taken out of the picture, like the crowd decided they wanted Valkyrie to be leader. And then when she was just like, why is everybody chanting my name? And then Tony was like, I think they want to crown you king, because before she was like, she was the king of Asgard, so now she's the king of Jakar. So that was actually nice. That was a nice little like tie-in. And then after that, Tony, he thanked her. She got Tony a ship. Tony fixed his Iron Man suit, and then he got in a ship to go back to Earth, so he can go be with his people. But then while he was in the ship, Gamora came out of nowhere and snatched him up, because she was just like, I can't return home without you. And then it faded to black. And then it goes to another scene where, like the final scene, where Gamora is bringing Iron Man to Thanos. Thanos is sitting on the throne, and he's just like, child, he was like, you've done it again. You never cease to amaze me. And then that's when he was like, you've brought me the Iron Man. Then Gamora said to Tony, she was like, wow, somebody actually got your name right. And then he was just like, 1, 2, 3, go. And then the same staff that they used to kill the Grandmaster, Gamora used that same staff to kill Thanos, because Tony and Gamora ended up teaming up. I guess obviously he got through to her. He got through to her, and the two of them teamed up to take out Thanos, and they killed Thanos before he could wreak havoc. So this was this was an interesting, what if, because it ended up turning out that Gamora and Tony Stark band together to kill Thanos. A lot of movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe don't happen now. Like that moment where Gamora it's almost like the crazy thing about a lot of these what if episodes, the way they turn out, like just by changing one little thing and the story going in a different direction, it just saves us so much time. And like, because obviously Endgame never happens now because Tony killed him right out the gate. Even in the Peter Quill episode, like a lot of shit doesn't happen in the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because then it already killed his daddy. So I'm just like, well, damn. I was like, these what if episodes are turning out better for the public than the actual movies. But that was basically it. It ends with Tony and Gamora killing Thanos, and thank you for tuning in. Like, so this is a good episode, and again, like, it erases that god-awful Ragnarok movie, so I was definitely happy about that, and it was nice to see Tony get some shine and to do some stuff, and, you'd like to see how different characters interact with other characters, so this gives us the opportunity to do that, and I'm grateful for it. Like I said, it was very damn interesting, and I look forward to the next one. So like I said, check me out on Instagram and or X, always on YouTube, where you can leave your questions, comments, and concerns. What did you think about this particular episode of Marvel's What If, the Tony Stark episode? What do you think about any of the episodes? What's your favorite episode so far? Because we're up to episode 4, and I got 2 more to review, and we're probably going to get 8 as they conclude the season. So that was it, guys. So like I said, check out my other videos on my YouTube channel. As always, look out for the next Marvel's What If to Infinity and Beyond. Look out for Tony Stark because he's flying through your galaxy. And we're out this